Thank you, Kees, for this rather lengthy introduction. So you know everything about me now, so let's just dive in and get started with this last session in the tech track of today. And in this session, I'm going to tell you something about the great features and improvements that we have planned for the Thinkwise platform in the coming years. And also, of course, how sustainability is going to play an even bigger role in it in the future. But before we go and have a look at the future, I want to first look at how the Thinkwise platform currently already contributes to sustainable software development, or to say it maybe in a different way, how it is already a sustainable transformation platform. And to do so, I want to highlight two ways that the Thinkwise platform already contributes to it, to that goal of sustainability. And the first one is a very important one, I think, that the Thinkwise platform enables companies, it empowers companies to implement more sustainable business processes. Because we see a lot of companies in the world that are really, held back from improving their processes, from becoming more sustainable by their rigid legacy core systems that they have. And with the unparalleled productivity of the Thinkwise platform and with the adaptability of the Thinkwise platform, we enable them to migrate this legacy core system to the latest technology, to a really adaptive and fast development platform to start improving their business processes. This image on the right illustrates the speed that you can achieve when developing with the Thinkwise platform. It's a benchmark performed by QSM. QSM is a leading authority in the field of productivity measurements regarding software, for example. And what they have done is they have benchmarked the productivity of the Thinkwise platform against other platforms, other low-code platforms that do comparable things as we do. And what they have seen is that they've checked, I believe, 8 or 9 projects that we have done in the past. And they have seen that the average effort in hours it takes to complete a project, a software project of a certain size, and the size is displayed here in function points. With the Thinkwise platform, it takes about 80% less time than with other development platforms. Animations are a bit off, I see, but we'll get through that. The other thing is that with the Thinkwise Upcycler, the Upcycler is a component, I don't think it has been mentioned before today for the most of you. The Upcycler is a component of the Thinkwise platform that allows you to extract the DNA, as we call it, of your legacy core system and transform that DNA into a first version of a Thinkwise model. And we have an Upcycler available for a lot of wide range of technologies. Older technologies like COBOL, RPG, but also newer technologies and even some upcyclers available to upcycle from other low-code platforms to the Thinkwise platform. And with the Upcycler, you can, like I said, really create a jumpstart for your software development process, saving you even more time, more costs, up to sometimes 50% of the total project size. So the second way that the Thinkwise platform already contributes to sustainability is by making software development and software itself, so the applications you build with it, more sustainable. Now, what is sustainable software? Sustainable software basically is software that is as energy efficient as possible to minimize the impact it has on the planet. And it takes into account the environmental sustainability in the design, the implementation, and the deployment of your software. At this point, maybe it's a little bit less obvious than the previous one. So let's look at how the platform supports this way of sustainability. Like Peter Paul also mentioned this morning, sustainability, especially environmental sustainability, has not been a goal in itself when we developed the platform over the past 20 years. But it has always been our goal, it has always been our mission, and it really is in the core of our DNA to create the best, the fastest, and the smartest development platform available worldwide for building these really lean, flexible applications that have an infinite lifespan, which you may have heard a couple of times before today. So with these goals, we strived for economic sustainability, as you may say, but as a side effect, as an additional benefit, this economic sustainability has also contributed to environmental sustainability. And that is something that in the coming years, we want to improve that. So we want to focus more on the environmental sustainability, but of course, yeah, it works both ways. When you look at software development, economic sustainability leads to environmental sustainability and vice versa. In general, the faster your software is, the more optimized it is, the cheaper it is to run, the more green it is in practice. So in our way of work, in our philosophy, also environmental sustainability has always been this side effect. To make this more concrete, if we look at the current state of the Thinkwise platform and the ways that we support sustainable software development, there's a lot of characteristics that it has already that support this claim. And I'm not going to sorry, this is supposed to go automatically, but I'm not going to go through all of them individually. But if you look at these characteristics of the Thinkwise platform, you see that they can be summarized in like 3 main themes. The first one is that the platform provides this high productivity, high adaptability to reduce the development time for applications and thus reducing resources needed to create your software. Second theme is that you can build these really lean applications with a minimal footprint, using the latest, most efficient technologies and also deploying them on sustainable deployment platforms like sustainable cloud environments, for example. And the third theme is that Thinkwise applications have this infinite lifespan. So you will never have to throw away your software and rebuild everything again. You can just keep up with technology. That's something that my team works on continuously, investigating the latest technologies, checking if we can incorporate this technology in the Thinkwise platform and making sure that our customers can seamlessly upgrade to new technologies without doing any rework or any manual labor. So now let's start looking at the future, at the Thinkwise platform roadmap. And what we strive to do is that we want to secure and further improve the sustainability of applications throughout the entire application lifecycle. And with the Thinkwise platform, this lifecycle starts with an upcycle. So this is a thing that only we provide. With this upcycle, you can speed up your development time a lot by creating a really nice jump start with it. So what we're going to do is that we're going to improve the productivity and adaptability of applications with the upcycler during development, during maintenance. We're going to increase the efficiency of applications to reduce their footprint when you are using them, which is, of course, an important stage at the application lifecycle. And we're going to guarantee the infinite lifespan, the durability of the Thinkwise platform and its applications. So this way, you'll never have to dispose of it, and so we're reducing a lot of waste there. So let's look at some of the improvements that we have planned for the coming years. The first one I want to talk about is automatic model enrichments. So I've shown here a schematic overview of the Thinkwise upcycler. Like I said, the upcycler can extract a model from legacy applications, or your IP, for example. It can then transform that model to a Thinkwise model, and once you got the Thinkwise model, you already have a fully working application. You have to add your custom business logic, some stuff that we can transform, for example, but yeah, it really gives you a jump start. And with the automated model enrichments, we want to take that one step further. We want to optimize the model to make it a real shiny Thinkwise application by using data analytics, by using machine learning to implement all sorts of additional features that the Thinkwise platform provides and that you didn't have in your legacy system, for example. So think about configuring screens automatically, using breakpoints, for example, when you also want to use your application on your mobile device, or by configuring components like a maps component if there's any geographical data in your legacy system. We can find relations and constraints and sometimes even business logic that we can apply to the application. We can optimize models for performance, quality, security, for example, by automatically configuring role-based access for your application, or by cleaning up your model by throwing away tables and columns that you don't use, for example. And something that we are researching right now, which is very promising, I think, is that we can, if we want to use data analytics and machine learning to extract ontologies from legacy data models. And what does that mean? We see a lot of legacy data models that use really cryptic naming for their tables and entities. And using machine learning, we can, based on the data and the relations between the data, can see or can determine what type of data is available in certain tables. For example, if you've got a table named OHQ23, it might contain sales orders, and with this data analytics and machine learning tools, we can figure that out and rename the table accordingly to give you proper naming in the Thinkwise model of your application. And the great thing here is that we can't only do that after upcycling. We can also use the enricher to enrich greenfield applications. So applications you've just created the data model for example, or for applications that maybe have been in production for a couple of years already. So there's always something to improve in your applications with it. So you've heard the term Thinkstore a couple of times already. Thinkstore is a way to share and reuse modules, components, business logic, interfaces in Thinkwise Platform applications. About a year ago, we released an improved and integrated version of the Thinkstore, and it's already heavily used, and it gets more and more content available in it. And in the upcoming years, we really want to invest in expanding that content. For example, by adding more and more interfaces and connectors. Marjolein already showed you the importance of interfaces in modern-day application landscapes. So we want to add more and more pre-configured connectors that you can use to connect your core system with other applications and services available. Another content that we want to add is more of these modular components. For example, Anna, he downloaded this rental application from a Thinkstore. We also got CRM modules available, product configurator, some hour registration, for example. And what we're going to do is that we're going to add more and more of these components or modules in the Thinkstore, so you can really download all these components for your application, integrate them in one Thinkwise solution, then adapt it to your needs, and this way, we can really boost productivity a lot, we think. So there are some challenges there, of course, regarding compatibility between modules, for example, naming, interfacing, things like that. But the concept fits perfectly within the Thinkwise platform and the model. So we've got high expectations of it. Another optimization we're planning to do to speed up the development process is to optimize the platform performance. That's something that Peter Paul already showed you an example of this morning. He did an imitation of me. I can't remember acted or reacted the way I did, but what he was talking about was this. We see that larger and larger applications are created with the Thinkwise platform, up to thousands of entities in it. And there are also more and more teams working on the same applications in it, with larger teams as well. And the Thinkwise platform, besides the tools for automating your development process with CI/CD, for example, also contains a lot of features that help setting up the development process within the Thinkwise platform in an agile way, to improve cooperation with your fellow developers. But there are some actions in the Thinkwise development environment that can take quite a lot of resources. And that's because there's a lot of data in the Thinkwise development environment. And there's a lot of I/O going on to retrieve information from these models. So what we are going to do and what we have done for a big part already, and what is going to be available in the upcoming release of the Thinkwise platform, is that we're going to use a SQL Server feature called system versioning or temporal tables to really reduce the amount of data in Thinkwise applications. We're going to only store the current state of every branch in operational tables, and we're going to store a history of changes, and only those changes in separate history tables. To illustrate that, in the upper right corner, you see a schematic overview of a blue main branch, for example, in the Thinkwise platform, and several colored feature branches or fixed branches. And in the current situation, every circle in it contains a complete copy of the model of your application. And in some development environments, we've seen they take up to more than 1 gigabyte in size. So there's a lot of data in there. And with this change that we're going to do by introducing system versioning, what we're going to do is that we're going to only store the current state of every branch in the Thinkwise platform. And for all the previous versions of your branches, we will only store the changes compared to this new version. So that's a pretty drastic improvement. It's probably one of the largest refactors we have done in the last 20 years of the Thinkwise meta model. But we can do it in a really controlled and efficient way. And that's because we use the Thinkwise platform to build the Thinkwise platform as well. So that's a great thing. We're also going to optimize the branching and merging process by having to create less copies of versions for your branches, by more efficiently applying changes when you're merging a branch, for example. And this results in a couple of statistics. These are some figures that we have measured on our internal administration, the Thinkwise community portal. Peter Paul also already mentioned it this morning. But these are some characteristics. And you see in my image, if you compare the database size of the next version with the database size of the previous version, it's even smaller than Peter Paul showed, because my team has made another improvement earlier this week. But we think we can reduce database size for most environments for up to 70 to 90% maybe. Creating a new version with the new version of the Thinkwise platform won't take any time. The only thing you need to do is to store a specific point in time, and that specific point in time will point to the version at that moment. Creating branches, creating pull requests or merge sessions as we call them, or merging pull requests is also much more efficient. When we merge pull requests, we only have to replay the changes that have been done to the branch, to the main branch, and then we're finished with it. So this can all reduce development time a lot, boost productivity, and save even more resources during development time. Something else we want to do is that we want to further streamline the development environment. The Thinkwise platform is a platform to create core enterprise systems, and it is targeted at professional developers. But it also means sometimes that it can have quite a steep learning curve for new developers working with it. And to take away that learning curve, to assist developers in getting up to speed faster, we're going to add a couple of improvements. We're going to add developer guidance. We're going to really guide the developer to the entire process of creating a new application, modeling it, testing it, deploying it. We're really going to take the developer by the hand and take him or her through all the steps to show how it should be done. We're going to research how we can use machine learning to assist the developer in developing an application. One example would be, for example, when a developer models a process flow, like the one that Marjolein showed us today. The AI can suggest, for example, the next action that you might want to add to your process flow. Or it might suggest some configuration of your process flow to speed things up based on data it collected from a lot of other applications that are modeled with the Thinkwise development environment. And what we're going to do is that we're going to reduce code even more. So that's something that we're always working on. We're always looking at ways to expand the capabilities of the model, to reduce code where we can. For some things in the platform, think of creating views, but also some calculations and complexer business logic. You can use SQL as a language to add this functionality. But we think we can expand the model, we can add more possibilities, so you need less code. An example would be to be able to use process flows in default or layout logic, for example. And that's something that's not possible at the moment, and would be, I think it would be a great enhancement. Another optimization is more targeted at the DevOps ecosystem. So not the Thinkwise platform itself, not the inner workings of it, but everything that is in place around the Thinkwise platform itself. Because in a professional development environment, like Anna showed you already, the Thinkwise platform does not stand on its own. We try to make use of the best of breed applications in a DevOps ecosystem to help you streamline the development process. To use these specialized tools to create an efficient and agile process for your developers. And what we're going to do is that we're going to expand this DevOps ecosystem with more out-of-the-box integrations. Think of integrations in the field of requirements management, testing, unit testing, load testing, end-to-end testing, code analysis, static code analysis, for example, for your SQL code. But one thing to remember here is that we want to do that in a smart way. We don't want these integrations to slow down your productivity, or to lower your productivity, or to slow down your development process. We don't want you to have to manually update all your test cases that you have created with Cypress, for example, if something changes in the Thinkwise model. So we're always looking at ways to integrate these tools in a smart and efficient way by really linking them and by controlling them or drive them from the Thinkwise meta model. You can think of generating scripts for Cypress, for example, or for Selenium-based tooling. Based on the model, we can automatically create those scripts for your tool, so you don't have to do that manually. And if you change something in the model, these scripts are updated automatically as well. So by doing this, we ensure that the platform itself also stays current and modern and up-to-date in every development environment available. Of course, we want as many developers as possible worldwide to be using the Thinkwise platform. And one of the steps that we want to take is to offer the Thinkwise platform as a true application platform as a service to everyone that is interested in around the world. Technically speaking, this is already possible. We've got our ThinkLab environment, which is a PaaS environment that you can request from Thinkwise to get acquainted with the Thinkwise platform. We can provision it with the push of a button. We've already provisioned over 300 of those environments in the last year. But one of the things, and it was mentioned earlier today in one of the questions, is that you still need your Windows, or our Windows desktop environment to do the visual modeling. So we've created some tooling in our Windows user interface to model your data model, to model your BPMN models or your process flows. And that's something that we want to get rid of. So we've already taken a lot of steps to go there, to make it a true application platform as a service. We've prepared the universal user interface to have all the functionality we need for it. We have standardized some of the custom functionality for generation, for validation, for unit testing that was previously a part of the Windows user interface, and we've migrated it to the application tier. And the next step would be to migrate the visual modelers as well. So we have to recreate them in React. And once we've done that, and we've set up the entire process around provisioning and management and support of these environments, then it would be possible to create an application with the universal user interface, so you don't need to download the Windows user interface anymore. So another thing that I would really like to do which is more of a nice to have, is that I want to expand support for more database management systems, especially open source ones like MySQL or Postgres, and also for cloud optimized ones. For example, from Amazon or for Google, they provide these really efficient and lean database management systems. Often they are compatible with MySQL or Postgres, but they can really help speed up the development process even more. So this is it will take some time before we get there, but we're really getting close. So far we have focused on the performance of the development environment, boosting the productivity of development. But of course, for a large part of its life cycle, an application is in use. It's running in production. So we're also looking at this phase of the application life cycle, of course. And one of the ways to improve the efficiency of applications in production is to host it in sustainable cloud environments. And it might seem trivial, but there are a lot of companies, a lot of customers of ours as well that have their core legacy systems in COBOL or RPG. Well, good luck hosting them in the cloud. And if you can, it's probably not much more efficient than hosting it in your on-premise data center. Cloud environments can, in general, operate much more efficiently in a number of ways. You see some of them highlighted in the chart on the top right. So they are much more efficient in use. They can use renewable energy, and they can really balance the load between different parts of the data center, depending on the demand for it. And of course, Thinkwise applications can already be deployed in the cloud. The platform is completely cloud agnostic. We can even use virtual machines, Docker containers, managed services, all sorts of PaaS services that these cloud providers contain. And what we're going to do to help everyone with setting up an efficient, for example, containerized environment is that we're going to provide pre-built container images for all components of the Thinkwise platform, even for the development environment of it. So using these pre-built component images, you can really efficiently set up a new environment using the deployment center, the Thinkwise deployment center, but also using Kubernetes, for example, if you want that. Another thing that we're basically constantly looking at, it's really an ongoing process, is optimizing the runtime components. Anna has shown you in this session that the runtime components are components that are completely created by Thinkwise. We provide these components, and they use runtime interpretation to, at runtime, interpret a blueprint of your application, a model of your application, and then create the applicable service endpoints you need, or the process flows you need, or the schedules inside the application tier, or for the user interface, of course, your menus and screens and things like that. So it's all done at runtime. And it does have a small performance hit, but it doesn't outweigh all of the benefits that it has as well. But of course, we are looking at reducing things like CPU usage by always using the latest technologies. We've recently upgraded to the .NET 6 Core 6, for example. In the benchmark in the upper right, you see that ASP.NET Core takes up the 7th place of the fastest web frameworks available, of a list of, I think, about 400 that are in this. So we're really trying to find the technology that is best suited for the Thinkwise platform, but also the most performant and lean. And another way, it can be in small things to saving energy. For example, by using dark mode. I don't know how much it does in practice, but every little bit helps. So once we have made the universal user interface available for the development environment, as a developer, you can also switch to dark mode to do your developing. Thank you. We had this on our list for a long while as well. Yeah, long time. Yeah. But it wasn't feasible to do it in our Windows desktop environment. Yeah. So the important thing here to mention is that every optimization that we do to the runtime components is instantly available to all of our customers, all of the applications, even applications that have been modeled 20 years ago. You know, in the course of years, they have upgraded from Visual Basic at the time to Java to Web to React in this case, without any manual labor in most cases. Even those applications can benefit from every optimization we do to the runtime components. So that's really cool. And this is already the last slide. If you want to minimize energy consumption of your applications, you not only want the runtime components to be as efficiently as possible, you also want the user to be working as efficiently as possible with these components, with the user interface, or with the API. And some improvements we have planned to streamline or to optimize the user experience. For example, in the field of UI optimizations or automation, you know, the more we can automate for a user, the less the user have to do within the application, the more efficiently he or she can work with it. Some of the things that we want to do is, for example, further expand the possibilities of process flows. Process flows are becoming a more and more important part of the Thinkwise platform, and we're continuously adding new features to it. We've recently added connectors to zip and unzip files, or to merge PDF files and things like that, so it's rapidly expanding. We want to integrate, now let's say differently, it's already possible to create workflow and case management in your application. You can model it quite easily with the Thinkwise platform itself, or you can download a solution for it from the Thinkstore, but we want to make it an integrated part of the Thinkwise platform, because we see a lot of different applications using it, and a lot of developers building it again. And we think by integrating it, we can really improve the user experience around it and speed up development at the same time. User onboarding and training is an important part that we're looking into. We're not going to build that ourselves, though. We're going to look at integrating tools like UserLane, for example, that really provide interactive tutorials for a user. We're going to expand the possibilities for a user to configure the user interface. Within our applications, user can configure themselves a lot. They can even choose entire screen layouts for the screens they're using. They can create their own filters and things like that. So there's a lot of possibilities already. But we're going to expand that, and we're also going to expand the what you call self-learning capabilities of the Thinkwise platform. Based on the usage of an application, so how a user works with the application, we can suggest to automatically apply user preferences for that user. So we can help the user optimizing his or her workflow. And something that, if you are a customer already, something that you might have seen a couple of times, that's our research at natural language understanding. We've spent quite some time on it, on and off, and although it's not immediately applicable, no, there's not a lot of people that like to talk to their application or to type to their application instead of using the mouse. We think that in the future this might become relevant. So we're doing research in applying natural language understanding to fully control the Thinkwise application. So you can control your application, you can control your ERP, you can ask it questions, you can give it commands through speech, through text, or in the future even through brainwaves. So that's something that we're preparing for. We've got our prototyping up and running already, and once we get a demand for it, it would be fairly easy to add it to the Thinkwise platform. So this is it for now. I hope this gives you an overview of the things that we were working on. It's quite a lot. We know we want to do a lot more even, but yeah, because we are using the Thinkwise platform itself, a lot of these optimizations can be done a lot quicker than when we would be traditionally developing the entire backend as well. So to conclude with some takeaways, the Thinkwise platform already enables companies to implement more sustainable business processes, to giving you the opportunity to modernize your core legacy system. And our mission, which has always been to improve software development and to improve applications, enterprise applications, has already contributed to sustainability because we were environmentally sustainable already. Sorry, economically sustainable, I have to say. And finally, we are committed, or as Peter Paul said, we pledge to make sure that all future developments at the Thinkwise platform will be as sustainable as possible. So sustainability by design. So that's it for now. Any questions? Give you a little bit more time. Anyone? Over there? Yeah. I'll start with him and then we'll throw it back further back.
You mentioned during the onboarding process for new developers that, as part of that there'd be less coding. Is it also possible to implement the upcycler in checking what code you've made or you've already written, and if that can be replaced with what the SF now can do?
Yeah, and for some technology we already have. So for some technology we can extract the pieces of code that are linked to certain entities or certain actions. Of Uniface, for example. With Uniface we have a very rich upcycler that can not only extract the data model, extract information about screens and the user interfaces, but can also extract pieces of logic. And it can't automatically convert them. We're not a code converter, but it can help the developer to guide him or her where to add business logic in the Thinkwise application. So it depends on the technology, but yeah, if the technology supports it, then we are definitely going to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
A question about the last dot of your presentation about the natural language recognition.
Yeah.
Sounded like you're still looking for a use case, but there is I think a great use case. Everywhere they use the app, when they can use their hands for a mouse, but they're not sitting behind the desktop, like in a warehouse or stuff like that. They're picking up things, and then it would be great if you could control the app by speaking to it.
Yeah, good idea. Feel free to submit it to the community as well. So yeah, and it goes for a lot of things. A lot of the features in here, they are often requested by our community or by our customers. So that's a really important source of information for us when deciding what we are going to build next, for example. So yeah, thanks for that.
Jasper, it may be completely not relevant for this session, I don't know, but having worked in security, I did not hear one time the word security and security by design. So would that be relevant to expand on that a bit more? Or not?
Yeah, it would, of course. Security is always something that we have in mind. Peter Paul showed the slides this morning, security by design, privacy by design, and we add sustainability by design to it. So security is something that we are, that's important for us from the start, basically. So we have done everything possible, I think, or at least a lot, to guarantee the security of Thinkwise applications. The entire application tier, the Indicium application tier, was built from the ground up to be as secure as possible. So it really has our attention. Yeah.
Thanks.
And we do, of course, we do penetration tests and things like that on a regular basis.
Thank you.
Over there in the back.
What about accessibility by design? And what about NoSQL databases?
Good question. Accessibility is on our roadmap. We're currently really working hard on making sure that our new React user interface has as many possibilities as our older user interface. So we're doing like a, we have to finish that first. At least that is what we're doing now before we spend time in accessibility, for example. But we have already researched the possibilities for it, the libraries we can use to integrate it in our user interface. So we are preparing for it, and we will start with it as soon as we're a little bit further in the process of the universal user interface. Second question, help me out there.
NoSQL.
NoSQL, yeah. The type of applications that are created with the Thinkwise data platform, we feel like relational databases are much more relevant for it. You know, it's always about data. It's always about also securing the integrity of your data and things like that. So we don't have a use case for it yet. If there would be a use case, it would be worth considering. But yeah, at the moment, every project we have done with the Thinkwise Platform, relational database would be a better option there. Of course, it is possible to integrate, you know, with NoSQL databases or with spatial databases, for example. That's already possible if you want.
And regarding the database, are you by design also supporting caching mechanisms?
On a database level, we support caching mechanisms like in-memory tables or OLTP from SQL Server, for example. So it depends a little bit on the database management system used. In the Indicium service tier, of course, we support caching in different ways. We also support distributed caching using Redis, for example, you know, to make scaling as easy and seamless as possible. So, and in the user interface, we use caching for caching the model. So the second time you start the user interface, it doesn't have to download the model anymore, but it can use the cached part of it. So there's a lot of caching going on, yeah. Any more questions? All right, well, thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice day.